everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Meg, and today I'm going to show you how to make some edible cookie dough. I would also like to note that this is normally like a makeup channel, but sometimes I like to post some lifestyle things on here as well. I'm also doing a Zodiac series, so every new Zodiac season I'm going to be putting out a video talking about astrology. So if that's something that you've been interested in, be sure to subscribe. I hope you guys stick around. Give me a thumbs up if you're excited for this video. All right, so I've uploaded a couple of vlogs at this point, and this has really been a time for me to experiment with my art and then apparently also with baking, because I'm going to show you guys how to make delicious edible cookie dough. It is so good. A baker from my hometown uploaded this recipe, so I will have her YouTube video linked down below. She does it live, so it's like a 45-minute long video. And I'll also link her Instagram down below, and I'll also have the recipe and directions step by step down below as well. So first thing that you want to do for this recipe is preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And in case if you're wondering, why are we heating up an oven? If this is edible cookie dough, we're not baking it. You actually want to heat treat your flour. So we're using 2 cups of flour, and heat treating it is essentially going to help bake out any possible bacteria. Most flour should likely be safe, but to be on the cautious side, and especially if you're someone that can't really consume something that might have E. coli in it or other bacteria, like if you're pregnant, you definitely want to heat treat your flour just to be 100% safe. So you want to preheat your oven at 350 degrees. You also will need 1.5 sticks of butter. You want to leave those out and get them nice and soft. So once you have the oven heated up, you're going to stick the flour in a shallow baking dish, just kind of like dump it all around. And you're gonna have it in the oven for 5 to 6 minutes. If you really want to be safe, you can bake the flour and heat treat it for up to 10 minutes if you're pregnant or if you're at higher risk for that kind of thing, but 5 to 6 minutes is typically the safe spot. Once the flour has been heat treated, you can leave it out. If you're not set to bake, if you're still waiting on your butter to soften, you have like an hour to kill or something like that, you can just let it cool and leave it out. Or if you have everything ready to go, what you want to do is transfer that to another container and stick it in the fridge for up to 10 minutes. And you want to put it in another container because what we just pulled out of the oven is retaining a lot of heat, and it's going to take a lot longer for that flour to cool down if you stick the hot baking dish into your refrigerator. So that is kind of the magic behind heat treating, and now we can put the rest of our ingredients together. So I am going to go ahead and add 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. It doesn't matter if you use light or brown. From watching the video, basically the baker said that if you use dark brown sugar, you might get a little bit more of like a caramel taste. But there's not going to be a significant difference between light and brown. And I'm adding 1/4 cup of just regular granulated sugar, or this is like cane sugar, whatever white sugar you have that's not confectioner sugar, you can go ahead and toss in. Now the baker did say if you only have one type of sugar, that's fine. It will just come out differently, but this is a ratio that she uses. So I'm just going to give this a loose spin to get it incorporated. And then now I can add the softened butter to this. I'm going to add this in a little bits at a time. I just kind of chopped it up just so it's easier incorporated. I will say butter takes forever to soften. I've had mine out for almost an hour, and a benefit of living in the desert is that it was still kind of cold, so I stuck it out in the garage for a couple of minutes, and now it's pretty soft. And I'm just gonna scrape the sides just to make sure everything is getting incorporated. And then I'll probably mix this for about another 30 seconds and we should be good to go. I can still see some chunks of butter, so we just wanna make sure that that is all sorted out. All right, that looks good to me. Lift this guy up, and now I'm going to add in the milk and vanilla. If you want to add them in separately, you can, but a tip that I picked up from watching this recipe was that you want to incorporate the vanilla into the milk. All right, so the recipe calls for 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my measuring cup because it also calls for just about 1/4 cup of milk, and you can use whatever your milk preference is. I use unsweetened almond milk, so whatever you have on hand. And the baker said that this will help incorporate the vanilla more evenly through it. She's like, I don't know if there's actual science behind it, but she just feels like it mixes in better. All right, so now we are going to go ahead and stir and incorporate that together. I'm gonna let it mix for about 30 seconds, scrape the sides, and let it mix again. I just started off mixing slow, like on a lower speed, so milk doesn't splash everywhere. But after about 20 seconds, you can kind of hike it up. I had mine on like 4 if you're using a stand mixer. So I just want to make sure that I'm really scraping the sides, getting everything incorporated. And then she also said that it can look a little weird at this stage, so don't be concerned if it doesn't look like it's coming together. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this like a final 30-second mix. All right, we just have a couple more dry ingredients to incorporate, and then we will be mixing everything together, and we should have some cookie dough in just a few minutes. So over here we have our flour. I just let mine sit out for about an hour. Like, I didn't need to cool it in the fridge. You just don't want it to be super hot. You want it to be pretty much room temperature. So here we're going to add a teaspoon of salt. If you want it to be more salty, feel free to add more salt. With the baker in her recipe, when she made this, she used salted butter. So if you like a lot of salt, use salted butter and add a teaspoon of salt, or if you don't like a lot of salt, you know, adjust to what your taste is. So I did a little bit of a heaping teaspoon of salt. And then for baking soda, she said that she highly recommends this even though it doesn't get baked, and just said that it just doesn't taste the same without the baking soda in it. Because she's tried making it both ways and just prefers the flavor with the teaspoon of baking soda. And I have very specific directions, again, down below in the description box. So now I'm just gonna whisk this together to get it incorporated, and then we can start to add this to our wet ingredients. Okay, you guys, I lied. I decided at the last minute I'm going to go rogue. So I'm gonna add a little bit more of a dry ingredient. This is like barely half of a French vanilla pudding packet. One of my friends posted a chocolate chip cookie recipe that used pudding, and it was so good. It made the cookies so flavorful. So I kind of want to add that into the cookie dough. So I'm just going to use most of what was left in here and just incorporate it into the flour, just for fun. We'll see how this turns out. All right, now I'm going to take about half a cup at a time and add it into the mixture until we get dough. All right, we are looking pretty good, pretty dough-like. I was worried for a second thinking that I would have to add some milk. So if yours looks like it's crumbly and like it's not really like sticking together like a cookie dough would, just add a splash more milk in. I'm just gonna scrape the sides and give it one last like 30 seconds of mixing, and then I'm gonna add in the chips. Okay, so that was really more of like 5 seconds of mixing. So now I'm gonna add in my chips, candy, whatever you wanna add to the cookie bits, go ahead. The baker recommended using about a cup equivalent. If you don't like it super sweet and you like more of the dough, then do half a cup, or if you like a lot of chocolate chips or whatever it is you're putting in, do a cup and a half. I just have regular milk chocolate chips that I'm adding into this. I still have my little 4th cup, so that's what I'm using. Put half of it in, I'm gonna give it a mix, and then add the other half. Here is what the cookie dough looks like. It's pretty hot in my house, so I'm gonna actually let this cool in the fridge for about 5 minutes, but maybe a little taste test. That is so good. That definitely hit my craving. And the vanilla pudding just added more vanilla flavor to the cookie, and the salt, like the teaspoon of salt was a perfect amount of saltiness for my taste. So if you like a little bit more of like that vanilla flavor to be present, you can go ahead and add in about half a pack of the vanilla pudding, but this was so good. This is seriously so good, you guys. You can keep a little bit out in the fridge, and I'm gonna put most of it in the freezer. Let me know in the comments below if you're gonna be giving this a try, and if you did, let me know what you thought. All right, now I have to try some on camera. This is so good. I'm not gonna lie, I've been hitting the Ben & Jerry's real hard over the last 2 months. And my favorite flavor of the moment is half-baked, because I just love the texture of the cookie dough that's in there, and then also the brownie. And I ran out, so that's why I was like, I'm craving that cookie dough texture. So I was like, I need to make this, and it hits the spot. You definitely want to make sure you have some water on standby. And I will say, like, the teaspoon of salt was almost too much. So if I were to redo this, I'd probably just go with half a teaspoon, or like maybe 3/4 of a teaspoon. This is almost too salty for me, and that says something, because like I like salt in my dishes. So just to give you a heads up. And then the vanilla pudding that I added is definitely giving it a little bit more of a vanilla-y flavor. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm gonna eat this one last chunk and put it away so I don't eat all of this. And let's wrap the video up. All right, so I actually took a smaller portion and have it in the fridge. You could honestly, for me, like a spoonful of this was more than enough, and I have so much in the freezer. Let me take out what I have frozen. So this is what's in my freezer. Like, this makes a ton. I kind of wish that I personally have the recipe. I thought it was good because she said that, you know, this is enough for 2 people, her and her husband, and I'm like, girl, that is so much. So what you can do if you're like me, you take a realistic portion out to have, and then freeze the rest of it. Now, Kelsey said that this will last in your refrigerator, so whatever you have set aside to eat now, she said that it should be good for 2 to 3 days, and she's like, it's really obvious when it's not good anymore. She's like, it won't taste good. So that's how long this will last in the fridge. And if you wanted to take yours out of the freezer, she recommends taking it out the night before, putting it in the fridge to let it thaw out, and then the next day it'll be good to eat. So I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Let me know if you're gonna give it a go. I do have another video where I show some cooking stuff, so I'll have that linked up above and also down below. I do banana bread, which is again one of her recipes, and then I try out some like viral TikTok food hacks. So if you're interested in that, that's kind of the content that I've been making over here lately. Let me know what you guys have been doing in quarantine to keep yourself sane. And if there's any good recipes that you have fallen in love with that you think I should try, let me know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe before you head out today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to hang out with me. I hope you are staying safe, doing well, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.